Have you ever felt that something in the world has changed, but no one around you seems to notice? As if reality were different, time flowed strangely, and some people simply no longer made sense in your life. If this is happening to you, it could be a clear sign that your consciousness is expanding to a new dimension. And no, this is not the theory of conspiracy or mystical chat without foundation. More and more people are experiencing this transition, and the signs are everywhere. The truth is that the way we perceive reality is changing. Time no longer seems linear, synchronities happen more often, and intuition becomes a powerful compass. But what does all this mean? It means that you may be accessing the fifth dimension without even realizing it. We are not talking about a physical place, but of a state of consciousness where the vibration and frequency of your energy rise, completely transforming your perception of the world. But calm down, there's nothing scary in this. In fact, it's exactly the opposite. This change of consciousness brings more clarity, inner peace, and a deep connection with the universal flow. However, if you still feel lost or confused, it is because you may not have recognized the signs of this inner transformation. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about now. Get ready, because what you will find out can completely change the way you see your own life. Are you ready to understand what is really happening to you? So stay with me until the end, because these signs may be happening right before your eyes. There are times when everything around seems different, as if the world had changed subtly, but no one else perceived. It's like being in an alternative reality, where everyday details seem out of tune with what was once familiar. This is neither crazy nor coincidence. Many who go through a spiritual awakening report this strange sensation, as if crossed to a higher dimension without realizing it. What made sense before now seems without purpose, while new ways of seeing life begin to emerge. This change of consciousness can be disconcerting at first. Suddenly, the way the people around see the world seems limited, as if they were attached to an outdated script. Movies, songs, and even conversations that previously made sense begin to look empty, without depth. It is at this moment that the high intuition strengthens itself, guiding for new ways. Those who go through this transition feel an almost urgent need to seek answers, as if deciphering a hidden code of existence. And the most curious? Small signs appear to confirm that this new perception of reality is not the result of imagination. Vivid dreams, unexpected encounters, synchronicities that challenge logic. All this becomes more frequent. It seems even that life responds directly to what goes on within the mind and heart. How to explain when you think of someone and that person sends you a message seconds later? Or when a question arises and out of nowhere, a book, a video, or even a random conversation has exactly the answer you needed. The key to dealing with this transition is not resisting. The more one tries to cling to the old way of seeing the world, the more uncomfortable change becomes. Accepting that reality is more fluid than imagined allows for smoother adaptation. Those who perceive this new dynamic learn to flow with the universe, trusting that everything happens in perfect harmony. The rational mind may try to fight, but the heart knows there is something bigger at stake. What if the very notion of time began to change along with this new perception? Many who go through this process notice that the days seem to drag or fly without explanation. But why does this happen? Have you noticed how, on some days, time seems to run faster than usual, while on others it drags on as if in slow motion? This oscillation in the perception of time is not just an illusion, but a clear sign of the transition to an expanded consciousness. The human mind has been conditioned to believing in linear time, past, present, and future happening in sequence. But as vibration and frequency change, this rigid structure begins to dissolve. Non-linear time becomes a noticeable reality, and the importance of now intensifies. Many begin to realize that the clock can mark the hours, but the time experience has become something totally different. A significant conversation may seem to last minutes, but when you look at the clock, you realize what time you have passed. On the other hand, moments of boredom or disconnection seem endless. This is because the energy and vibration of the individual are no longer aligned with the traditional concept of time, but with the universal flow. This also explains why certain people begin to remember future events, as if they had glimpses of something that hasn't happened yet. It may seem crazy, but think about those occasions when you had a very strong feeling of having already lived a certain situation. This is because time, when seen from a higher dimension, is not a straight line, but a large ocean where all possibilities exist simultaneously. Spiritual awakening makes this perception more evident. To deal with this change without feeling lost, it is essential to anchor in the present. Techniques such as meditation, full attention practices, and connection with nature help balance this new perception of time. A good practice is simply to observe the breath and ask yourself, I'm really here, right now, or is my mind wandering between past and future? The more one learns to live in the now, the more aligned if this new reality is. And curiously, this change of consciousness also affects relationships. Some connections are strengthened, while others seem to completely lose their meaning. When someone begins to vibrate at a new frequency, it is natural that certain relationships do not seem to fit anymore. Suddenly, conversations that once flowed begin to sound empty, as if something was essential. Longtime friends may seem distant, while new connections appear unexpectedly. This is because each person carries a specific energy, and when this energy changes, the ties between people also change. It is not that something went wrong, just that the resonance between the parties has become. Often this transition can be painful. There is a sense of loneliness at the beginning, as if no one else understood this new perception of reality. But in fact, this process is a kind of energy cleaning. Relationships based on superficiality or interests that no longer resonate begin to undo. On the other hand, people who share this new worldview appear, and interactions have a depth level never before experienced. It is common for some people to get into the past, trying to force connections that no longer make sense. But insisting on it is like holding out clothes that no longer serves. No matter how much sentimental value, no longer fits as before. The best thing to do is to allow each one to follow their way, respecting the natural flow of life. This does not mean cutting ties abruptly, but accepting that some relationships can transform or even come to an end. For those who feel isolated in this process, a good practice is to look for environments where they can find people in the same tune. Study groups on spirituality, retreats, meditation meetings, or even online communities can provide this energy exchange that strengthens and comforts. The idea is not to close to the old one, but to open yourself to the new without fear of the changes that accompany this spiritual evolution. And as this process happens, something curious manifests itself. Intuition becomes stronger. Coincidences are no longer just coincidences and becomes clear signs that reality is responding directly to the new frequency. Intuition has always been present, but with the change of conscience, it becomes impossible to ignore. It is that sudden sensation of knowing something without a logical explanation, a confirmed feeling, a random thinking that leads to an unexpected answer. Those who go through this process realize that the rational mind is no longer the only compass. Now there is a direct channel with greater intelligence, as if reality itself begins to send subtle signals, and sometimes nothing subtle. Many people begin to experience synchronicities more often. They think of someone and suddenly that person sends a message. They need an answer and find exactly the book, video, or conversation that clarifies everything. They are not mere coincidences. It is evidence that energy and vibration are aligned with a universal flow. The more attention is paid to these signs, the more clear and accurate intuition becomes. To strengthen this connection, it is essential to silence mental noise. Meditation is a powerful tool, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Just 5 minutes of silence, breathing deeply and watching thoughts without clinging to them, make a huge difference. Another efficient practice is to write an intuitive diary. Writing down sensations, dreams, and insights throughout the day can reveal patterns and messages that would once go unnoticed. Interestingly, Intuition does not manifest itself only in thoughts. The body also speaks. An unexpected chill, a tightness in the chest before making a decision, a sense of comfort to follow away. All of this are forms of communication of this enlarged perception. When you learn to trust these subtle answers more, life becomes more fluid, as if each step is being guided by something bigger. And as this sensitivity increases, some physical changes may arise. Strange sensations in the body, changes in energy, and even inexplicable symptoms may appear. The human body is not just matter. It is also energy in constant motion. And when this energy changes, the body responds. Many people who undergo an inner transformation report inexplicable physical sensations, such as tingling, sudden heat waves, forehead pressure, or even changes in sleep pattern. This is because vibrational frequency is adjusting to a new level, and the body needs to adapt to this alternative reality. One of the most common experiences is the sensation of weight or pressure in the forehead and top region of the head, which may be related to the activation of the third eye and coronary chakra. It is as if perception is expanding, making the person more sensitive to subtle energies around. Another noticeable change is the oscillation between moments of extreme fatigue and energy peaks. There are days when tiredness seems to dominate, while in others there is an unshakable disposition, as if the body was being recharged by an invisible source. Sleep patterns can also become irregular. Some people often start waking between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m., a time associated with a high state of consciousness and reception of spiritual insights. Vivid dreams and almost awakening experiences within their own dreams also become more common. It is the sign that the mind is less and less limited to the conventional perception of time and space. For those who go through this, the best approach is not to resist, but to welcome these changes with understanding and balance. Practices such as stretching, nature walks, and energy baths with coarse salt can help relieve the feeling of energy overload. Food also has an important role. Light and natural foods help the body process this new frequency more fluidly. And as the body adapts, a curious phenomenon happens. The connection with nature intensifies. The wind seems to whisper messages. The trees look more vivid, and even sunlight carries a different energy. But why does this attunement to nature become so strong? Suddenly, walking down a park or simply feeling the wind on your face becomes a different experience. Nature is no longer just a beautiful scenario, but something alive, pulsating, full of subtle messages. Those who pass a spiritual awakening realize that trees, rivers, mountains, and even the sky carry an energy that once went unnoticed. This connection is no coincidence. It happens because the vibration of the individual begins to align with the natural frequency of the earth. Many people report feeling a deep peace when being outdoors, as if they were being recharged. This effect has an energy explanation. Nature operates at a pure frequency, free from the distractions of modern life. When someone enters this environment, their own energy field begins to harmonize. This is one of the reasons why practices like grinding are so effective in reducing stress and increasing mental clarity. But this connection is not only sensory, it also manifests itself intuitively. Have you ever been looking at the sky and feeling that an answer came out of nowhere? Or being near the sea and having a brilliant idea effortlessly? This is because the mind goes into a more receptive state, far from the noise of everyday life. Some ancestral cultures already knew this and used nature as a spiritual connection tool. Shamans, for example, performed outdoor rituals precisely to access higher dimensions. To strengthen this tune, small changes in routine already make a difference. Spending a few minutes a day under the sun, touching a tree consciously, or simply breathing deep into an open space are practical ways to absorb this energy. Meditating outdoors further enhances this feeling of unity with the universe. The more it is practiced, the more the perception of the environment intensifies, and the sense of separation between self and world begins to disappear. And when this connection deepens, something fascinating happens. Life events seem to begin to fit like pieces of a puzzle. Coincidences are no longer mere coincidences and becomes clear messages from the universe. Have you ever been thinking of someone and suddenly that person send you a message? Or to be looking for an answer and out of nowhere, a book, a video, or a conversation to bring exactly what you needed to hear? This is no chance, it is synchronicity. As consciousness expands and vibration and frequency increase, these events become increasingly common. It is as if the universe began to respond directly to the energy that the person emanates. The curious thing is that when you begin to notice these connections, they intensify. Small signs, such as finding repeated numbers on the clock, 11:11, 22:22, listening to a song that describes exactly your moment, or crossing a person who brings an unexpected opportunity, become frequent. These events are not random coincidences, but indications that reality is organizing itself according to universal flow. Those who learn to decipher these signs begins to live more intuitively and aligned. Many spiritual traditions have talked about it for centuries. In Hinduism and Buddhism, there is the concept of dharma, which represents the natural way of things. When someone is aligned with their purpose, the right doors open effortlessly. Carl Jung, one of the great scholars of the human mind, also studied synchronicity and realized that it does not follow the logic of chance, but a deeper logic based on the connection between mind and universe. So, how to enjoy this energy in favor? The first step is to pay attention. Creating the habit of writing synchronicities can help you see patterns and perceive the direction to which life is guiding. Also, trusting intuition and acting when an opportunity arises is essential. When you ignore a signal, it can disappear, but when one step in the right direction, new paths begin to reveal themselves naturally. And with so many changes happening, it is no surprise that priorities also start to change. What once seemed essential begins to lose importance, giving room for a new set of values. Something curious happens when consciousness expands. What once seemed fundamental begins to lose importance. The search for status, material goods, or external approval no longer generates the same satisfaction. Instead, a deep desire for authenticity, inner peace, and spiritual evolution grows. This change does not mean abandoning responsibilities or living isolated from the world, but redefining what really has value. The focus comes out of having and goes to the being. Many people who go through this process feel a natural distance from habits and environments that were once part of the routine. Empty parties, surface conversations, and the need to follow standards imposed by society begin to sound uninteresting. On the other hand, there's an increase in the desire for experiences that bring personal growth, either through meditation, contact with nature, or deepening self-knowledge. This also reflects on professional choices and lifestyle. Working only for money is no longer sufficient, and the search for a greater purpose intensifies. Many people feel the call to change their careers, create something that benefits the world, or simply finding a balance between work and quality of life. There is a natural transition to a state where universal flow becomes more important than following a traditional and pre-established path. This change can cause strangeness to those who have not yet passed it. Family and friends may question new decisions and even interpret this process as a crisis. But in fact, it is a realignment with true essence. A good exercise for those who feel this transformation is to ask, does it bring me genuine joy, or I'm just following a pattern? The more sincere the answer, the clearer the way to follow. And when these new priorities are established, something amazing happens. Life flows more lightly, and synchronics become even more evident. After all, when it is aligned with its own essence, the universe responds. But is there a definitive sign that someone is already living in this new frequency? Now that you know the signs, the big question is, what are you going to do with this information? Will you ignore and keep living as if nothing has changed, or will you embrace this new reality and explore all the potential it has to offer? The truth is that since consciousness expands, there is no return. You may even try to fit into the old way of living, but something inside you will always feel that there is something bigger, something most people haven't realized yet. And if you have already identified these signs in your life, then it's time to act. Pay more attention to synchronicities, trust your intuition, connect more with nature, and start living aligned with this new frequency. Small adjustments in everyday life, such as meditating, surrounding people who share this vision and seek content that expands their perception, can further accelerate this transition. After all, the more you align with this energy, the more the universe responds clearly. But now I want to know, which of these signs have you realized in your life? Do you feel that you're going through this change of consciousness? Tell me in the comments, because sharing experiments can help other people who are living the same transformation. And if this content has made sense to you, be sure to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. Here we talk about spirituality, evolution, and everything that can help you navigate this new reality with more clarity and purpose. We see each other in the next video.